first technique I'm going to talk to you guys about is a technique that's been around for a little while, but it's really started gaining traction kind of on a national scale. Guys are using it in a lot of different scenarios. It's even started to become popular fishing out deep, ledge fishing on those schools that get really tough, and it's called the Neko Rig. Really simple, easy to fish, easy to rig up, but it takes some of the proper tackle. So I've got a little VMC Neko weight, and a little 7-inch bottom hopper, and what I'm going to do is I'll actually pinch off about a 1/4 inch of the head of the worm, and I do that just so that it matches up with my weight a little bit better. And there's several size weights you can add, but all you're going to do is insert that weight right into the head of the worm. So now we've got a good flush profile of our worm, and what that's going to do is it's obviously going to cause that worm to fall straight down. Now here's the important part, is where you're going to actually rig the hook. We're not rigging it in the head, we're not rigging it in the tail, and I'm not rigging it sideways all the way through the body. I'm actually going to take the hook, as a number 2 Neko hook from VMC, specifically designed for this technique, and I'm going to go just slightly above the weight, and I'm going to go into the body of the bait about halfway in, and without going all the way through, I'm going to come right back out the other side, or right back out the same side. And what that causes it to do is the worm sits here, and as you pull, it looks like a little worm feeding on the bottom. You know, it just kind of scurries along, and it triggers a lot of strikes. And the good thing is I'm able to get this bait down deep. It falls very fast, I can get it down quick, so it saves me a lot of time. One thing that's important when we're talking about fishing the Neko Rig is the setup that we use to fish it with, and I really like to throw it on spinning gear. And you could get away throwing it on a bait caster, but I feel like you really get the best presentation throwing it on a spinning rod. And for me, the best is going to be a 7-foot medium action rod, something that's got a fairly light tip so that I can throw the bait out there and I can feel it really well on the bottom, but something that's got strong enough backbone that I can drive the hook into big fish and get them away from cover if I need to, or if they're just down deep, you know, that extra length and a little bit of backbone is going to help get the fish away. As far as a reel size goes, I like to throw that size 30 or size, you know, a 3000 size reel. That's going to help with that line coming off the spool. It's going to help minimize wind knots, and it's going to give me a lot more cranking power. I'm going to be able to turn more inches per handle turn of line, so if that fish runs at me, I can pull the bait in a lot quicker. As far as fishing the bait, very simple to fish. You're going to fish it almost like you've fished a drop shot. If you've fished a drop shot before, imagine when I make this cast, that bait falls straight down and the weight's on the bottom, and as you're pulling, it's almost doing that right there. It's a little worm, just like my finger, and as it scoots along the bottom, when you pull, it looks just like a live little worm kind of feeding on the bottom. And it looks so realistic, and that's why it triggers a lot of strikes. So light little shakes, kind of a semi-tight line, and just kind of scooting it along the bottom. You know, as I move that bait to me, I'll reel in the slack a little bit and just continue to work that bait back toward the boat. So when I'm fishing the Neko Rig, you know, there's a lot of different scenarios I can fish it in. I can fish it around docks, you know, deep or shallow marina docks. I can fish it, you know, out on ledges, on river channels, fish it around, you know, long extending points. And when I'm doing that, I'm usually looking for ones that have a good steep drop to them and some good rock. There we go. So that fish came right on the edge. We're fishing a super long point right on the main river channel. And what these fish are doing is they're sitting just off the bluff end, just off the steep side of the point. And we're able to shake that Neko Rig and bring it and work it right off. And that steep fall, you can feel it as soon as it falls off that little ledge. Those fish come up and eat it. They're suspended just off of it. And so it's the perfect bait to be able to get it as soon as it just kind of works its way off, right? It's twitching along, boom, drops straight down. and there's kind of little steps, and those fish are sitting on that first step, and there's no better way to get that bait straight down to them than throwing that Neko Rig. And you can tell they eat it good. That fish has got it choked down in there.